couple days worth of work in. Now, where do you feel your defense is as far as stopping the Virginia run game now that you actually get some work in?
It's going to be a challenge. They're, awfully big in the line, and running backs look like they ran well, and they do a nice job with motions and shifts to try to, get you thinking, get you slowed down to do a lot of plays they repeat. So for them, it's simple, but for you, they try to confuse you. But I know we've worked at it pretty hard and got a fair amount of time on task. We'll see if we're ready to step up. It'll be one of the keys to the game. There's going to be 3, 4, 5 keys. And based on last week, our ability to stop that run and run the ball is going to be a big part. And they're coming in, same attitude. They've been talking about being a physical team, this being a physical league. Are they up for the challenge? They're challenging their team. And trust me, we've been challenging ours. So it'll be interesting to see if we got some fiber, we got some pride. We'll stand up and answer the call. We'll see.
Go ahead, please.
I was going to say, what kind of response are you seeing from that, basically?
Looks really good. But again, practice. Practice, going scout team guys, different in the game. You trust in the game. Ready to cut loose against better players. When you're going against a scout over. But now we do inside drill. Had a boatload of plays half line where it's good on good. And so we're working at it. But our attitude, and there's not a lot of, we're not allowing them to pout and mope around. We're encouraging, challenging, and pepping it up. And it's been a decent couple of days. We got to finish off tomorrow polishing and getting ourselves right, and Friday cleaning up. But the work week, the process of work's been positive. We'll see if it transfers into play. Time will tell.
Is there a balance?
They got a lot of athletes in their secondary. Some of them are young kids, but they got some really athletic kids. Some of those kids out of Hampton and in Norfolk and around that Virginia area. What kind of challenges do those present for Ed in his second start?
Well, to me, the real challenge, and their offense did really well, but their defense, I was very impressed with those guys. And the real key, I think, to the defense is really their defensive front.
Okay.
Because as those guys go, it makes the secondary that much easier because your quarterback doesn't have time. Your receivers don't have time to work their routes. You don't get the running game going. You get one-dimensional. So, again, I was very impressed with, the size of their defensive line. They're very active. One of their defensive ends is a really nice pass rusher. It's a very, very impactful player that looks to have a nice future as a player. So I think their secondary, yes, they have athletes. They might be young, a lot of skilled kids, yes. But I think their secondary is complemented by the defense. And against William & Mary, they completely kind of shut the run down. I don't think they crossed midfield to the very end of the game, didn't score to the very end of the game. So, and that really started. Their secondary played well, but their defensive front really set the tone of the game.
Is there
and that'll be the case in our game, I'm sure.
Is there a balance when you're trying to get your guys to play physical, but you don't want to beat each other up? Really.
No, there's a balance, but again, we still, again, for where we're at, I think we're still kind of teaching our guys, how to hit and how to keep doing it and how to move your feet on contact. And again, we're trying to be very select and smart in what we do, but we're not physically where we want to be, with our style of what we need to do and in the league that we're going to play in, that we can back off of it. Same time as a coach, we just got to be smart in what we're doing. So we pick our spots, we pick the drills, we pick the setups, but we've got to keep building that.
When you watch film of Virginia on defense, I guess, can you tell a big difference between last year and this year? Just because does it seem like they're a lot more used to, I guess, the schemes and that sort of thing because they had a big transition?
Yeah, again, one game, so I don't know, they looked really good in the first game. And again, last year, as the season goes, there's, and again, coaching change for new, first year with Coach London, getting used to things and ebb and flow or injuries. I didn't really follow the progression of, or there's certain issues that maybe caused them to maybe not play as well in last season as they could have. I don't know what they could have played like. We watched their tape is more about structure. We really watched the first game to study personnel. So I really didn't study their personnel much off of last year as much as just structure, defensive, offensive tendencies, defensive tendencies, the tape that we went through trying to figure out, okay, who can play and who your challenges and your matchups was really that first game. So I don't know if I can answer.
How do you handle the first home game as far as just logistically keeping your kids focused and stuff with kids on campus and things like that?
Well, last week what we did last week, we actually stayed here in town. And there's a lot of people here last week with it being Labor Day weekend and whatnot. So we actually went through the routine of where we stay, our meeting structure, our practice structure. Other than the bus ride would be a little bit longer where we drove up. So we actually treated last week like a home game. And that one reason being is that we knew we'd be home this week and the next week. So we just thought, other than having a 10-minute ride over from our hotel, it was a 50-minute drive. So hopefully we'll, we need to play better than last week. So we're not really going to change what we do, but hopefully we're used to what we do and used to the hotel we stay at and the timing, and we'll see. It should, hopefully, again, being home, we'll feed off the crowd. At the same time, I think where we're at, we've got to feed off ourselves, build our own energy, and that's what we're working to do.
Both of you guys in Virginia had quarterbacks last week make their first collegiate start. How would you rate the two quarterbacks against each other in their debuts?
I was very impressed with Mr. Rocco. In fact, I think his father's a coach. They used to coach at UVA. He played at Wake Forest back when I was at Carolina, if I remember his dad's name correctly. But I was very impressed with him. I think he was complimented very well. Their run game got going. He was really able to play within himself. So I was very impressed with his performance. But I was really impressed with their overall offensive team. The line got the run game going. Their running backs ran well, especially their young guy. They got one great receiver. But as the running game got going, the quarterback got in rhythm, and they were kind of playing on their terms. And that's a sign of a good team. I know they're young. I know it's year 2 of their deal, but they looked at a nice rhythm as a team, and that really helped the quarterback play well. He played a solid game.
You talked a little bit about replacing Leon. Would that be a shared job with some guys move around a
little bit? And again, based on what these guys do, they'll do some things with big guys where, when I say big guys, 2 or 3 tight ends on the field in still normal down situations where they're running and play action pass. They'll do some things at one back where then they spread you out a little bit, but still quarterback running with one of their other quarterbacks that come in. It's an athletic kid. So, Leon will be, he'll kind of be replaced sometimes maybe by a nickel back based on spread sets or bigger bodies with Brandon McGee or Dahlstrom Griffin as the game goes on.
What do you know about the traditions of the walk and the rock, and what do they mean to you?
The walk coming in, it'd be interesting to see it again with our crowd support is what's our energy and what do you get from it? We actually practiced that one week, like where is it and how do we do it? And I told the guys I thought they were walking too slow. It was a Saunders, so we want to have a little pep coming in and not racing or running or being hyper, but we want to come through but hopefully that will be something to feed off of. And again with the rock, what we're going to do, we're going to come by the rock, but I look kind of like our team coming out together, not single file forever. So we're going to kind of get around it and kind of come as a group. And I don't know if anyone wants to get a bump on it or touch and respect to Coach Hepp and that tradition, great. But I'm not going to single file everyone because to me it's always a pet peeve when a team comes out and it's like one after the other, like a bunch of ants chasing each other. I like to kind of bring it as a. I'm not necessarily into we got to hold hands or hook arms, but I like to come out as a team. And so we'll kind of gather around it and go from there. But we'll keep embracing all those traditions. Hopefully we can get some winning traditions and play well and get some wins too.
Is there any further timetable with Leon or Josh or anything?
Hadn't heard anything. Again, I think, and again, if Josh's injury, which appears to be, right now, the thought process is Leon's is going to be non-surgical. And whether, I think we'll know here end of this week or the weekend, first to next, is it looking like a 2, a 4, a 6 week deal with Josh's being a surgical deal. I think we're waiting here about a week for Swin to go down and going in. It's probably going to be at the end of his season because it's going to be one of those, it looks like an ACL deal where it's probably going to be repairable. And they always go in cartilage, they've MRI'd it, but they got enough information. They'll go in and with the scope first, but from there, if they have to cut it, it'll be his deal.
Paul Phillips is a kid that's been through a lot, obviously, and he's got a lot of family coming in this week. Do you get a sense of just what it's going to mean for him to have all those people around?
Well, again, I don't want to speak for Paul and his family, and that was a story I was aware of prior to getting here. And I've tried to be very respectful of he and his family and just ask, the things that they would like to do is just honored in the way that his mom and he and his brothers won't. And I think sometimes, that sounds good media-wise, but it's still a very delicate family situation. I know it's still tough, and I know those young men are all with the youngest brother still, but 3 of them are heck of players and college athletes, which is unbelievably unusual. And I know they take a lot of pride as a family, so I've just tried to be very respectful and not push things that we think they should do as much as saying if there's anything you guys want to do as a family, want to do together, while you hear anything we can do. But I think sometimes, again, I think they're at a point where, again, it's kind of, like I was trying to say with their team, family business is family business, and we kind of handle it internally. And I know he's a great kid. I know his brother's a heck of a player. I know his older brother was too. Paul's, right now, and he's getting back in the mix helping us. He, like Ted, had a pulled ham and missed the bulk of 2 days, and and he got it like day 2, right out the gate. And he had a nice spring. He's a young player, had a great summer, and it just is kind of a hiccup that no one wanted. But hopefully, with the background he's got, he's going to be tough enough and mature through and end up having a good year and helping us as a young player that keeps developing. So Okay, guys?
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Coach.